Hi. When starting a new business in the UK, choosing the right type of business is essential. There are various types of businesses, each with their advantages and disadvantages. You need to decide which one is best for you. In this video, we will discuss 3 different types of businesses: a sole trader, a limited company, and a partnership. One of the first things you need to consider when starting a business is whether to run it as a sole trader or as a limited company. At the start of 2022, in the UK private sector, there were 3.1 million sole traders and 2.1 million actively trading limited companies. A sole trader is a self-employed person who owns a business and works for themselves. This is the simplest business structure in the UK. As a sole trader, you can start your business immediately without registering with Companies House. However, you must register for self-assessment with HMRC within 3 months of starting your business. You can register for self-assessment through the government website. Check the link in the description of this video to go to the right page. You must file a tax return annually if you are a sole trader. This means that you are self-employed and pay taxes on your own. If you are a sole trader, you are the only business owner. This also means that you are responsible for any money the business owes and must pay it back with your own money. A sole trader has unlimited liability because the law does not consider the person separate from the business. So, if the business gets into debt, the business owner is held accountable and may lose personal assets. If you want people to help you grow your business, they may be more likely to invest in a limited company structure than in you if you are just a sole trader. Now let's take a look at the limited company. A limited company is officially and legally separate from the owner or manager, which makes it much more attractive to potential investors. This is true even when the company is owned and run by only one person. This difference also makes it easier for businesses to get loans from banks. Any business assets belong to the company and not you personally. Profits, assets, and liabilities are attributed solely to the company itself, meaning that shareholders will not have any personal liability if debts occur within their business. As a shareholder, you only risk losing what you have invested in the company and the cost of your shares. If the company gets sued or has debt it can't pay back, you would not be responsible as long as you weren't participating in fraud activities. The company is treated as its own separate entity, and whoever is suing the company will only be able to get money from the company's assets, not your personal assets. This is called limited liability. All limited companies in the UK need to be registered with Companies House and file annual accounts and confirmation statements. They must also submit tax returns and statutory reports to HMRC annually. A limited company can be more tax efficient than a sole trader since it pays corporation tax on its profits at a more lenient tax rate than income tax. Furthermore, a limited company may also claim a broader range of allowances and tax-deductible costs than a sole trader can. Here are some of the advantages of a limited company. It is legally separate from its business owner, so it offers limited liability. There is no risk to personal assets. You only lose what you invest in the company. It is easier to secure finance. Once your company name is registered, no one else can use it. It is usually more tax efficient. You pay corporation tax on profits rather than income tax. It increases trust and credibility among customers, investors, and competitors. You should be aware of certain disadvantages of a limited company. Filing an annual company tax return and submitting yearly accounts can be costly and labor-intensive tasks. Information about your business is publicly available on Companies House, including company financial statements. You must pay a fee to incorporate your company with Companies House. In the UK, there are 3 main types of limited companies: a private company limited by shares, a private company limited by guarantee, and a public limited company. Private company limited by shares. The majority of new companies that are formed in the UK choose this company form. This is the standard limited or LTD business structure for any company that has been formed to generate profit for its owners. This type of company makes up more than 93% of all corporate body types in the UK. The company should have at least one director and one shareholder, who can be the same person. It is remarkably popular because it allows the sharing of profits among the shareholders while also offering restricted financial liability. The shareholders are responsible only for company debts up to the value of the shares they hold. Their personal assets will therefore be protected should the company encounter financial difficulties. A private company limited by guarantee is a less popular type of company. It makes up only about 2.5% of all corporate body types in the UK. A private company limited by guarantee is often used by clubs, societies, and charities. It is similar to a typical limited company, except that it does not have share capital, and it has members instead of shareholders. Its members act as guarantors who agree to contribute a nominal amount of money if the company is wound up. Their liability is limited to the amount that they have agreed to contribute in case of liquidation. A private company limited by guarantee does not usually issue any dividends or share out profits, but instead puts those funds into reserves for future use. Another type of limited company is a public limited company, or PLC. This type of company is commonly associated with companies listed on the stock market whose shares may be freely sold to and traded by the public. However, this is not the kind of company we usually help form. Since it is publicly traded, a PLC must comply with stringent regulations set out by the Financial Conduct Authority. It must have at least 2 directors and 1 shareholder, and its primary purpose should be to make a profit for its shareholders, although it may also operate as a not-for-profit organization. The main advantage of choosing a PLC is that it can access the capital markets to raise funds more quickly than other types of limited companies. This is because its shares may be publicly offered, which means its owners do not have to search for individual investors. Now that we have looked at limited companies, let's learn about partnerships. 2 or more persons who intend to conduct a business together for profit may form a partnership. A traditional partnership is based upon a partnership agreement with no need to register at Companies House. A general partnership is not a separate legal entity. Its partners generally have unlimited liability, so they are responsible for the debts and losses of the business, much like a sole trader, which liability they share. This type of business is mainly associated with professional services such as solicitors, accountants, and doctors. A limited partnership, or LP, is a business association consisting of 1 or more general partners, who are liable for all partnership obligations, and 1 or more limited partners. A limited partner is somebody who contributes a certain amount to the partnership. This person is only responsible for the debts or obligations of the business up to the amount of money they have contributed. Another type of partnership is a limited liability partnership, or LLP. The primary benefit of an LLP over a traditional partnership is the limited liability protection it provides, making them similar to limited companies. This means that the members' losses are typically limited to their contribution to the business, thus protecting their personal finances if the firm faces difficulties. An LLP must be registered at Companies House and requires 2 or more persons as designated members. The LLP structure is often formed by those in industries where they traditionally work as a partnership, such as a legal practice, an accountancy practice, or an architect's practice. An LLP is also beneficial in that it allows the partners to remain somewhat separate, with each partner being responsible for paying their own individual income tax via self-assessment, rather than the business being responsible for paying corporation tax. We hope this has given you a better understanding of the different types of limited companies and partnerships. At Uniwide Formations, we can guide you through all the steps necessary to form your company and provide advice on what kind of company form best suits your business. If you want to be notified when we upload new videos, subscribe to our channel. In the description of this video, there are links that you might find helpful. Thank you for watching.